And I actually want to say a big kudos to our men in uniform who have. I just feel they've not been celebrated enough.
Enough. They haven't.
I read some stories. You know, you hear some of the backdoor reports coming in where these guys are. They are literally at the line of fire, and we just don't have that culture of saying thank you. Yes. The proper way. So we're just acknowledging them and saying a big thank you to all our men in uniform for fighting this war so far. We really appreciate you, and we always and will always wish you all the best. Until it's completely eradicated, we'll keep on bringing this up and celebrating it.
When it is eradicated, we should have a Remembrance Day. We should have
a memorial, even for all the victims and the military men. It's really sad. It bleeds. I mean, I bleed when I have to talk about the Boko Haram. It's as mundane as talking about the time of the day or the weather.
At some point,
it's become
lost
so
shock value.
Yeah, the shock value is gone for me, but at the same time, we can't be too quiet about it, so people don't completely forget. Our former President Goodluck Jonathan's new appointment, observing Tanzania elections in Tanzania, and of course, rumored other United Nations big jobs there. It seems he's come out of the woods. He's had a good break, and he seems to be the flag bearer for free and fair elections now.
Well,
it's amazing what a phone call can do for you.
Yeah, I mean, he made one call and he conceded defeat, and now he's observing. He's observing. To some of us, he had always been observing, so it's like a.
Just care to elaborate more on that?
We're happy to hear that he's actually been recognized. We remember when there were terrorist attacks, and you remember pictures of the former president at those scenes, and he always had this look of, like, oh wow, what's going on.
This actually happened.
Yeah, so it seems now that the international community has recognized he has this observatory capacity or this observatory ability, and he's being rewarded for it. But not to take anything away from him, he's been a president in his own right. He has overseen a successful transition, free and fair elections. So having him monitoring the elections in Tanzania as a Commonwealth representative is actually something worth celebrating.
I remember in April there were headlines and rumors that he might actually be the role of United Nations job, that they called it the Global Crisis Envoy, part of the Global Crisis Envoy. There were talks about it then. I don't know whether that is still going to materialize, but he will be the first African ex-head of state to occupy that, if it does happen.
Really? That was good.
So I'm thinking maybe this is testing the waters and seeing how that unfolds. Coming back to Lagos, you're in Ogun State, so you might not know what's going on in Lagos. But road accidents, trailers falling off bridges. Then there's the Oshodi Express, the hanging of commuters and Danfo boys and conductors on the buses. There just seems to be, for some reason, a heightened level of road accidents and trailers. And I don't know whether it's just that, for some people, they are of the opinion that this happens every other day. But there just seems to be a lot more of that happening now. Do you tend to ascribe this to anyone? I don't know. Is it because they're being restricted, for example? Or
generally, people associate the last 3 months of the year with lots of high rates of accidents. It's not exactly you can actually relate it in the sense that lots of people on the road, people are traveling for business purposes. It doesn't exactly excuse it. We've actually seen most of it, I would ascribe to neglect and carelessness. The tanker drivers who should naturally not be on the road at certain times, being on the road. Our law enforcement agents who should ensure that conductors are not hanging from buses, people are hanging from buses, speed limits not being followed. So you have people speeding and somersaulting cars. It's all about order, law and order being put in place.
Do you think the government is doing enough in that regard?
I think
in terms of the fact that this is something that needs urgent attention, especially considering the last 3 months of the year.
I think when you pass a law, I don't think it's enough to just pass the law.
Enforcement has always been the issue.
I think yes, enforcement is.
Like we didn't hear anything about the driver of the trailer. have searched
the
organization, the people
in charge,
you know,
people, his bosses.
Is there an insurance payout?
Exactly.
The victims. Just, after that day, the story
it's just swept
went
under the carpet. It's not supposed to be. People are supposed to follow up with whatever laws and whatever rules that they put in place. If you say no driving after 6, somebody's caught on the no driving before 6 p.m. If someone is caught on the road before 6, he should be made to pay. His bosses should be made to pay.
And we should know about it. We should hear about it.
And yes, he should be made an example of, so other people don't toe in that same line. Because at the end of the day, you keep having these incidents and nobody is made to pay for it publicly. Then there's a problem.
Okay, let's touch on quickly football. Terdoh Bendega versus Vincent Yama. Yes. I asked some of my sports guys, you know, what's the genesis of this? The summary is, he was asked to come to camp, he came late, he claimed to be attending the funeral of his mom. And then when push came to shove, there was a utterance of some sort along the line of, I've had more caps than you have. And that's addressing Sunday Olise. And it's a tough job Sunday has been handed over. And would you blame him for taking that stand? As much as many Nigerians love Vincent, do you think Vincent overstepped the line by addressing the coach in that manner? Allegedly?
I think Nigeria is caught in the middle of an ego battle. I think both parties need to calm down.
Need to chill.
Take a chill pill.
Yeah, both parties. Because I think Olise he feels like his job or his role as the coach is being threatened.
Well, would you blame him? I mean, if you are the coach, but there's a precedence before you. They are the favorites. They are the people who the people love. They are the people that it's a given they're going to have their shirts every match. But then he has the responsibility of instilling discipline. You know, Musa is there now. You know, I mean, captain for a day. But the point is, would you actually blame him for taking that stand? Because he needs to have some level of control.
Discipline, yes, there needs to be.
But was it too much? Could he have just sanctioned him or fined him?
It was a function of how it was done. According to the reports, according to what AMS said, it was more of how he wasn't pre-informed. He wasn't treated. If you're going to take the captaincy and give it to someone else, at least there should be the courtesy of letting me know beforehand. If I'm going to drive all the way from my base in France to come for training, at least you should call me aside and let me know. You
think Sunday could have handled it better?
He could have.
Yes.
What would you have recommended?
You could have called him aside before the meeting, because it was right at the meeting that he was informed that he was no longer the captain, and that this new person was the captain of the team. And you're being stripped from your badge or your position is being stripped from you publicly in front of everyone, and you are knowing it at the same time that everybody else is knowing it. It's like you are taking away his pride and his dignity in front of his teammates. So it could have been handled better. He could have called him, phone call, text message. He could have hit him up on Facebook.
And Vincent, on his own part, could have, rather than just go to social media, which is very viral, and, you know, castigate the coach, he also could have spoken to him later and tried to question privately.
I mean, he announced his resignation from the national team via social media.
On Instagram.
So it's you know, it was all messy from the start.
But there are some quarters that say he says that he shall return. But who's losing out at the end of the day? We're losing. We Nigerians. I mean, we have the skill set of such I mean, he's very well decorated. He's a hero. Would you recommend Sunday Olise mending fences, or should he just take a stand?
I think he should take a stand. I think Vincent has...
When I say take a stand, at least maintain the course now, and just whatever Vincent wants to do, he should do.
First of all, I don't think he should come back. I think his time is done. Not because he isn't good anymore, but because if we're rebuilding, let's rebuild. No one is shouting that, oh, Mikel Obi is not the captain. Why isn't Mikel Obi captain? Because he himself knows that at this point in time, I'm not the best man for the job. We can rebuild the team. Vincent, I think, we appreciate all he has done for 13 plus years, but it's time for him. You go when the ovation is loudest. The ovation was loudest when Nigeria won the Nations Cup.
Yeah.
And that was
pretty much it.
Some time ago. So right now, I think it's best he steps back and lets other people.
There seems to be an underlining, I mean, we'll just finalize on this, but there seems to be an underlining rift between both of them. I mean, one of the things Vincent said was that the coach, that is Olise, asked 4 goalkeepers to camp because he never expected him to show up. So obviously it sounds premeditated.
I think he planned to kick him off the team, but he didn't want it to come from him. I think I wouldn't say he planned this whole thing out, but he planned to phase him out eventually.
Over time.
So,
considering the fact that Vincent had also spoken to him and told him he wants to retire, so he had already started the building process.
It was just a bit too dry. And then this is also a litmus test for Sunday himself as to how he'll handle other national
management
issues. Well, we'll have to wait and see how that unfolds. Terdoh, thank you very much. Kelvin, thanks for joining me. We are still rubbing minds here on Channels Television. We'll be back after the break. The Red Media Summit. What's that all about? Find out after this.